to your favorite podcast, everybody. Girls Unscripted, Bachelor in Paradise edition.
She's charming and she's Carolyn.
She's beauty and she's Grace. And man, Grace, am I excited to talk to you about last night's episode, week 9 of Bachelor in Paradise.
We actually kind of broke protocol and were texting during the episode last night because it was so much.
It was so much. I had so many emotions and feels that I needed to cope and process through. That's all I want from my reality television.
I want to call your attention, sister, to the lyrics of the song that opened the show.
Yeah.
Was this AI, yes or no? Lyric, I'm not a snack, I'm a 4-course meal. AI, yes or no?
Who sang that? Was it a person?
No, yes.
But was it a robot person?
Yes.
I would assume yes.
As the show opens, we hear, I'm not a snack, I'm a 4-course meal. I'm not a snack. That sets the tone for the rest of the episode.
No, I did not notice it was AI, but I very much believe it because they are taking over the world, as you very well know yourself.
So bots opened us up. I also want to cover a line that we heard from Jess, because you know this, as we say from where we're from, sticks in my crawl, that Jess said this.
I don't know that saying.
It means I have a bone to pick with this rhetoric.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But what sticks in my crawl, what Jess said was, people with the strongest relationships are worthy of being here.
Oh man, and this is going to be what I can already tell. We are going to be discussing this about every 5 minutes. So it's minute 2. Let's hop into it. He did say that. And I'd be shocked to know. What are your thoughts on that, Grace?
Okay, well, so that wasn't the host, Jesse Palmer. That was Jess, contestant.
Yes.
So the editors chose to have, in the recap, Jess saying, the people with the strongest relationships are worthy of being here. My biggest qualm with this at this point is that no one has declared that to be law. Who decided that? I understand that you can choose between who is it the best game player or is it the strongest couple, but where did that declaration come from?
Okay, I've thought a lot since our last podcast.
Can't wait.
To better articulate my thoughts around this, because it's a heated subject. I think whoever plays the game that is dealt them the best wins. I take that to mean it's open to interpretation. Anyone is allowed to win the game. That's why they're in the freaking game. I just understand the strategy behind players saying, if you aren't in a committed relationship, you gotta go home, because it's an easy way to get most people gone without getting too much blood on your hands. Does that make more sense?
That does make more sense. And I will save this until we get to Kathy and Keith's conversation before the rose ceremony. But I think the biggest issue from truly a producer standpoint is that idea has not been established. And so it's kind of a free-for-all. It's like, what do you think? Who do you think deserves the rose? And I don't appreciate the authority with which contestants come in and are like, this is who deserves it. As opposed to, hey, Carolyn, don't you think that maybe the best game player should get the rose?
How would you even define the best game player? And that's the problem. We don't know what the game is.
True. Which I think is on the producers.
Yeah. It really is on the producers on this one. I was talking to Kate McCarty-Jones, who called and was like, you guys are so right. The producers don't know what the F they're doing. And she's not even watching the show.
Thank you, Gabber
She's
Kate.
just being a good ass friend, and we appreciate that. But at the top of the episode, we start off with a good old use of Hannah Brown, because until now, we haven't found one. But this is her time to shine, because she is instructed to go talk to the ladies, have a little lady roundup, and ask, out of, curiosity, which of you might possibly maybe get engaged at the end of this to maybe improve our ratings, yes or no? Curious. What are your thoughts?
She was just taking the temp, which I want to point out one thing I found on Reddit, that even I don't know if they were robots or real people, but when this episode was being transcribed, the last episode for television, there was a line delivered by Hannah Brown, and the transcription said Susie, the closed caption, meaning that whoever was transcribing the episode for closed captions was like, that's Susie.
Oh, you found an error in the closed captions. Man,
correct.
Again, that is only stuff you'll find find here on Girls Unscripted. Tag a friend, add a friend, call your mom. That's fantastic detective work. That is actually really amazing. Yeah, and they go through and pretty much Kat, I was surprised, said hell no to the double no. She's not getting engaged, even though she did get engaged last time, and it was really embarrassing for her.
She got engaged to a guy named John Henry after they had known each other for actually 38 minutes. And by the way, I'm pretty sure John Henry's job is to wear an old-timey scuba hat and work on an oil rig.
Was that his thing?
That's literally that was part of his shtick, but like I think he actually works on an oil rig and like
dangerous work.
Wears an old-timey scuba diver thing with like the metal and the grate. That's like part of it.
Oh, I think I saw like a meme of that or something.
Yes. She got engaged to an old-timey scuba diver on an oil rig guy.
Is it just because she's the hottest?
She's so hot. She is so hot.
She is so hot. That's got to be it, right?
It was interesting, and we'll get to what happens with her and Dale, but she's clearly nowhere near an engagement at the end of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also,
we'll get there.
Why did Hannah take the girls aside? We don't know.
I feel like it was the producer's way of being like, hey, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We need some intel on where these suckers are. Like, would anyone do it? Would anyone actually do it if we asked them to do it?
Do we have any takers on engagement?
Which the answer, I think, would be yes from Bailey. I think she would get married 100%.
I think she would. And I'm going to be honest, I don't see it. I still think after the challenge this week, which we'll discuss, I think that Jeremy is still just absolute trash. My list of problems with him grows per episode.
Bailey and Alex, I think, would do it.
Again, they're not all in on it.
No.
But I have to say, if I were, let me be clear about something. If it is the strongest couple that's most worthy of the money, I would fake date the shit out of this show. If I were Leia, I would be like, Jonathan, propose to me right now. Propose to me on this tent date. Propose to me in this broken down tent. Propose to me, asshole.
But how would you do without would you like handwrite notes and pass them along?
I don't know. I'd probably take my mic off. This is actually an interesting thing about reality TV. I think a lot of contestants on reality shows don't understand how microphones work.
Right.
And they're told don't take it off. And they're afraid to mess it up. All you got to do is take it off and turn it off. And run away so they can't follow you with the boom mic to get like backup audio. It's not hard. So I would rip off my microphone, switch it off, and then I would get the audio guy like a Starbucks card because I'd be like, hey, I'm so sorry. But that's how I would scheme. I'd be like, Jonathan, let's fake date, man.
Interesting. I still would be too nervous. There's cameras everywhere. They would catch any little seedling of evil that I would try to concoct, for sure.
You're putting a lot of faith in TV producers.
That's so true. They have to listen to people all the time. And again, I'm not to be stuck on this. When they're intimate, what do the producers just turn the cameras off, or what do they do? I
bet they leave a microphone. Like, I wonder if they leave a boom mic,
oh my God.
Okay, on Caitlin Bristow's season, when she and Nick went to hook up before the fantasy suite, it was a national scandal.
Right, I remember that. Oh.
They played the audio, sister. We heard it.
They did.
Now, some would say there was some speculation on the internet that was contrived.
Oh, interesting.
That was like added later. Who knows?
Who knows? It is what it is.
Anyway, I would just take off my mic, switch it off, and say, Jonathan, let's fake date and win this thing.
That's a good strategy.
Based on the girls' chat that Hannah has with the women, you would think that Jess would be the most enthusiastic about getting engaged, and she was like, I don't know, dude.
You know, you could also go the route of, this would be controversial, not even trying to hide it from producers. Producers would actually love that shit. If they said, hey, you know what? We're going to have a fake relationship because everyone here is convinced that like the best relationship is, oh my God, this is the making of a rom-com.
That's what I'm saying. Like friends to lovers, the friends to lovers tropes, Leia and Jonathan, you owe it to us. Now, by the way, producers, I feel like would probably start to go to people like Kat and they would be like, hey, do you think that maybe Grace is fake dating?
That's true. I can't trust them.
But I think I'm a good enough liar to be like, you know what? That producer's really jealous because they want to find love. I think I could talk my way out of it.
I see that. That is what I would do right then. I would just stutter. I wouldn't be very good at it.
I would just lie to everyone. That's my That's my strategy.
Well, Jesse kind of lies to everybody as he tells them, hey, we're going to have a romantic dinner set up by the beach, which they do have, but it is riddled with flies. Kat gets extremely triggered. Any thoughts about this dinner, Grace?
First of all, they clearly had a contract with some kind of wedding catering company to produce a wedding reception event. Because for no reason, they go down to the beach and sit at a more or less wedding reception. They even had the drapery around the chairs that's like ruched in the back. They eat like steak and potatoes. And sister, I have to say, if I were Kat and there were flies everywhere, I would remove myself.
Yeah.
And that is my caretaking codependent tendency. But I'd be like, I'm not going to destroy this dinner right now by throwing food in everyone's face trying to get rid of the flies, which is kind of what Kat did.
No, I think a therapist would say you would do the right thing. You're doing what would be best for you in this situation, which is removing yourself.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you for that, and I hope you journal about it later and give yourself a pat on the back.
Yes. Self-care. So if I were Kat, I would have removed myself. But Kat doesn't, because Kat doesn't have my therapist. She's just having a freak out. She's spazzing, and she's like about to stab Dale in the eye with a fork because these flies are driving her crazy.
I was shooketh at how scared she was at the flies. And I didn't think that this would come up again, but little did I know. Of course, they showed us that precursor because what happens next is that Jesse tells everyone that they have set up 6 glamp sites for each couple to have an overnight date in the jungle. But the best part about it is what they don't know is that they will have to build their own camping sites and deal with a series of annoying pitfalls as they do it. So the producers are just fucking with them, making this the worst camping trip a couple could go on, including but not limited to, like, there's literal shit everywhere from horses. There's missing parts to put the tent up, the holes in the mattresses. I mean, they made everything so extraordinarily difficult.
Some poor production assistant was told by another producer, hey, go round up some horse shit and bring it over here in a wheelbarrow and just make it strewn about.
The shit was a lot. I thought the shit might have been a step too far.
I'll tell you what I thought was a step too far, and that is they were given jugs of water. The top to the jug was literally glued on. That's a health hazard. That's a medical like that's a liability, is all I'm saying.
It was so funny. And so the gist is so that they want to see how the couples can respond to these challenges. And to help them out is out of nowhere, this relationship therapist, Dr. Berman. Grace, please tell me your thoughts on Dr. Berman.
Well, I'll tell you where Dr. Berman comes from. It's from the Oprah, Dr. Oz, Dr. Philosphere.
Is she literally, or is that just like what the vibe?
No, that's literally it.
Okay.
If you Google it, so they have Dr. Berman like hiding in a control room and they say, hey, you guys have to set up this shit campsite and it's all a relationship test. And what they don't tell them is that Dr. Berman is going to be in this control room like a creep, watching footage and reviewing how the couples interact together and assessing their compatibility. Quick Google search of Dr. Berman, Dr. Rachel Berman, Dr. Rebecca Berman, Dr. Laura Berman. The first thing that comes up in a Google search is that she's a TV host.
Okay, great.
But she does have her doctorate.
Nice.
She's kind of she came from Oprah through Dr. Oz, through Dr. Phil. She did that whole circuit, and she's kind of like a sex therapist, more or less.
Okay.
We see these couples try to set up camp under duress. Now, my question is, sister, what would be the hardest thing for you in this instance?
You know what really I want to say is it depends how good of a sleep I had the night before. Am I in a good mood or am I in a frustrated mood? And how high are my SUDs, my subjective units of distress? Am I easily flustered or am I in a happy-go-lucky state? 2 different me's with 2 different outcomes.
What a fantastic answer.
Thank you so much, sister.
A couple things I have to say. First of all, my answer is the water being glued shut. I would have a meltdown. I would have a Category 5 meltdown.
Okay, you know what? That actually would be mine too, because if I feel like I'm in a place where I can't have access to water, I freak out.
I got this.
Yeah, yeah.
I got
I got this. Yeah. I drink it all day.
I'm the thirstiest bitch I know.
Yeah, no, true. And if it were hot and buggy and I were like under distress and I did want water and I couldn't get to it, I would imagine flipping out at that point.
It's hot and buggy. And also, they still had on their apparel from the wedding reception dinner by the beach. So if I'm wearing a fitted dress and I'm drenched in sweat, because by the way, Keith goes into dad mode and tries to set up the tent and he is immediately drenched in sweat.
Drenched.
He's so sweaty. Like, I'm kind of worried about his cardiovascular health.
And a shower, head to toe, sweat.
So they're trying to set all these things up. And that was when I texted you, because you know who would fucking thrive in a challenge like this? It's your husband, regular Kyle.
Preach. And this is what I think I texted back. I know exactly how it would play out, because this is how Kyle and I would have handled it. We wouldn't. We would give the fuck up and say, I don't understand this. And we would lay down on the ground, just get enough like shit out of the way, I guess, and be like, I guess it's under the stars. When do you get to look at the stars? That never really happens. And then that would be our night.
Okay, that's so interesting, because that is not how it would play out. And I'm going to tell you how it would play out.
Oh my God, tell me.
Kyle would assess your, what do you call them? Suds?
Suds, yeah.
He would assess your suds. And if you were distressed, he'd be like, you know what, pumpkin? You go sit down. I'm going to set up the tent. Because
not pumpkin.
Kyle would view it as a challenge. He'd be like, this is a challenge I have to complete. I have to set up this tent. I have to do the best job. I have to figure out the mechanisms at play. And by the way, that leads me to my conclusion about this quote challenge, which it wasn't a compatibility test. It was a demeanor test. Do you have the demeanor to set up a shit campsite in the midst of a bunch of horse shit and not murder each other by the end of it?
That's very true. I remember for our wedding, Kyle, like his friends had me do a video of like asking questions, newlywed questions, like when did Carolyn first fall in love with you? Whatever. And that was one of the questions. When did I first fall in love with Kyle? And my answer was, sister, when we lived on Moore Park Street in Studio City and he was visiting the first time we dated.
Did he help us assemble furniture?
Probably, but that's not even what I was going to say. I was going to say I was in a high suds. My suds were high. I was hot. I for some reason, everything was stressing me out and I didn't have the tools to deal with it. And usually that always stresses guys out. But for whatever reason, Kyle was the first one to be like, it's okay. And like give me a fruit plate and tell me to sit down on the couch and that he's going to take care of stuff. And I was so thoroughly confused. And I was like, is he fucking with me? Like, is he kidding? Like, what's he doing right now? So yeah, he is like Dale in the sense of like, I will do this if like you just shh. Cause he knows his life will be easier if I'm not suds high. I need to be suds low.
Okay. Couple things. First of all, I'm sorry I interrupted you. He probably did help us assemble furniture. Do not ever again compare your husband to Dale. Dale made a calculated play. Your husband would try to lower your suds and give you a fruit plate because he fucking cares about you. Dale is a smart game player. He's a strategist.
Yeah.
So, Gabbers, for those of you who did not watch the show, which is all of you, which we appreciate you listening anyway, what happens is Kat has a meltdown about the bugs. I mean, she's freaking out. She is truly having high suds. Her nervous system is activated. She hates bugs. I'm allergic to wasps, okay? I hate pain. I kind of freak out if there's a wasp. If there's a bug that won't sting me, like, I'm okay. Kat is having a full-on meltdown. And Dale, he doesn't even stop down with her. He's basically just like, hey, why don't you go just like sit? Why don't you get in that wood pen over there? Why don't you go stand in there and I'm just going to set up the tent, okay? That's what happens, sister.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that romantic of a thing.
No.
You could tell he was getting frustrated, and later the therapist gives him that note that in the moment he was getting frustrated because he might have a bit of a hero complex, which I thought was so interesting.
I think what she was actually getting at is that Dale was getting frustrated, and so he put Kat aside for him. He put Kat aside to get her out of his way.
Yeah.
And it seemed caring enough to pass at, because by the way, if you are, if your nervous system is overloaded and you're high suds mode, You need someone that makes you feel safe.
Yeah, you do.
I think he made her feel safe enough.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, the therapist thought it was great because, spoiler alert, she awards them the best couple for this challenge, and therefore they're safe this week from elimination.
They go sit in this conference room, and clearly it's part of their contract to use every single room on the campus of this resort before the end of the show is done filming. Mm-hmm. And so they go sit in this like business conference room across from this therapist who is going to give them feedback about their relationships. And she tells Kat and Dale, you have a bit of a hero complex. You were getting frustrated, but then you comforted Kat. You guys are the most compatible couple here.
Which shows she's part of the TV world for her to do something like that. Also, she was brutal in her commentary. Like Jonathan and Leah, she was like, oh, yes, I can see compatibility here. And Leah, I can see that you're in love with Jonathan and it is not reciprocal. I can see that. Okay, next couple. Like she was so ruthless in these things. Jeremy and Bailey, tons of chemistry, but I don't think there's any alignment. She used the word alignment a lot.
Which, by the way, I will give Jeremy this because he posted about her, by the way, on his story and said, this woman got her doctorate at the University of Phoenix, which is not untrue. It's not untrue.
No offense to any gabbers. A degree is a degree.
Yeah, no, a doctorate's a doctorate. But she said, you guys aren't aligned. And what she actually meant is Bailey wants to stay at the Ritz and Jeremy's been camping one time. Which, by the way, that's very TV to see that as a difference and like blow it up.
Yeah, exactly. And then she kept saying Alex and Andrew didn't have sexual chemistry, that there was just something there that was a little off. And I gotta tell you, sister, I didn't disagree with her. There's something about it that makes me, And maybe it's just because their humor is so awkward and that's how they like show love through awkward humor. It does make me raise a little bit of an eyebrow. It's like, do they? Is it? I don't know. What's going on?
I think that they are a really great Paradise couple who would get back to San Diego or wherever they're from and realize that they don't like each other.
Yeah.
Because, and this is the interesting thing, they kind of said this at one point on the show, like who someone is in Paradise is completely different from who they are in their kitchen when they're on their phone trying to cook pasta.
Exactly.
I think that Andrew and Alex would get to each other's kitchens on their phones trying to cook pasta and they would hate each other.
Yeah.
I think what we might be sensing is they don't feel completely connected.
Yeah.
I think they have both easily talked themselves into liking the idea of the other person, maybe.
Yeah.
Because Alex says, hey, Andrew, this was kind of a cute exercise. She was like, let's kiss like it's the last time we ever get to kiss. And then she immediately started critiquing his kissing.
But that was cute. Like I understood that. I didn't knock her for that. I don't know. I don't know. Great. I can't put my finger on it.
I just don't think they're entirely connected. I don't think they fully know each other because I think they have just decided that they like the idea of the other person enough to really bother getting to know each other.
It feels a little producer love bomby of like the producers have told them this is your love story like 5,000 times and that they've like bought into it because they are the first couple to say I love you to each other. Did you see that coming?
I didn't see it coming. It was nice to see Alex on the fritz again. I missed her. Because she was trying.
I missed her malfunctioning, beautiful, rendering soul.
She decided to say I love you to Andrew and basically said, hey, Andrew, I think I'm going to tell you I love you now. Okay. And then fritzed. And then Andrew was like, you know what, babe? It's okay. I'm going to say it first. I love you.
Well, then it got awkward. Then it was like, I'm falling in love with you. I am too. I love you. I love you too. I just the whole thing made me kind of want to cover my eyes.
Which also, I wonder if part of that is, again, they're not really connected.
Yeah.
And so it was like they had these weird stops and starts. Andrew had a boner when she stood up and he couldn't walk with her back to the cabana.
That was really funny. Take that, Berman, for no sexual chemistry. We all saw it.
I don't understand why he wasn't wearing underwear, but I'm going to let it go.
Yeah, is that a guy? Do guys do that?
Do they do it when it's humid in Costa Rica? Like, I don't want to know, but he wasn't. But so anyway, they say I love you. And the good doctor is skeptical of them, but she awards Dale and Kat. They win the most compatible after the challenge, which again, I think was just a cheap shot. Like, I think that was the easiest choice.
Because they had the most like cinematic moment or something. Because she was all distressed and
Kat
he saved
had
her.
the biggest meltdown to come back from, and that seems noteworthy.
Yeah, you're totally right. The other couple that the therapist gave a hard time to was surprisingly Spencer and Jess, and it was totally producers told her to say this because there's no way she could have gleaned this from their like 10-minute fire conversation, but she basically said, I can see the connection, but it seems to be going pretty fast. A little too fast, huh? Just might need to slow down, which, what do you know? That becomes their topic of conversation. Is this going a little too fast? And is it, Grace? Do you think it's going a little too fast?
After Dale and Kat were awarded the most compatible after camping award, we see each couple have conversations about what the good doctor said, and Jess and Spencer are talking, and they're questioning if it's too fast. And sister, I'm all in on Spencer. If I had to pick one guy to be with from the show sight unseen, I'd pick Spencer.
Is that because he laughs at our Instagrams?
Maybe, yes. That's how all in on Spencer I am. However, when they were talking about, is it moving too fast? Well, do you think we could move in together? My lease is up in September. So they're shooting I think they're shooting in May.
Yeah.
And they're looking at just several months away. One of their leases is going to be up. Who's going to move?
And we're on day what, 19?
Maybe 17. And then Spencer goes on to, this is a wise conversation. They brought up, when do you want to have kids? I think a lot of couples stay away from this because it feels like it's too big of a commitment to even discuss your timeline for having children. But it's really fucking important because he goes on to say, a lot of my friends have kids right now, and I would like for my children to grow up somewhere in the vicinity of that age range. And so I think in the next 2 years, I would like to start having kids. And she says, I would like to, at the latest, start at 30. And so 2 years seems kind of fast for me. And he says, good conversation up until this point. And he goes, it's not really that fast.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it either, Grace. It was not giving me the good feels.
Spencer, are you the one who's going to grow the baby for 9 months? Are you? Is that why it's so important to you to do it in 2 years? I had a real big problem with that.
And how old? Do we know how old Jess is? She's like 25?
Yeah, she might be like 25.
The 27's young to start having kids.
Correct.
Yikes.
27 is young to start having kids after you've moved in together after 17 days, maybe 19.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And not to knock anyone for having kids young. Like, totally, if that's the path that you want, so be it. I just didn't like the conversation going in a direction of, like, trying to convince Jess that, in fact, it wasn't that quick and that they should, in fact, move in together after knowing each other for weeks.
But they did recover from it, which I appreciated.
They came back around. They both crashed out with their homies, and they came back and, like, got their shit together.
But for them to have that conversation of, is it moving too fast? And for Jess to say, 2 years is too quick for me to have kids. And for Spencer to say, that's not that fast.
That's crazy. That he would literally have to engage, like, propose now, today.
In the past.
Yes. You'd have to time travel.
You'd have to build a time machine.
Go back 2 years, meet Jess, go through this whole thing, get up to here, and then maybe think about getting the wedding on, and then be married a few years and then have kids. Like, it is so fast to think all that would happen within 2 years of knowing a person. But it does happen, to be fair.
Correct. And so they talk about it. We see Alex and Andrew talk about what the good doctor told them. We see Bailey and Jeremy talk about it. And sister, my note says in all caps, why is Bailey so much more into Jeremy than he is into her?
Why? What does Jeremy have on her?
What is it? What is it?
Blink twice. What is it? I don't know.
She is so all in on him.
And he is so not in on her. For him to sit, his confessionals are the most unhinged thing on television right now.
I'll tell you what the problem is. This is what you're sensing, is the contempt. His interviews are dripping with disdain.
For Bailey.
Yes. And by the way, that is one of John Gottman, like renowned family and relationship therapist. That's one of his 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. This relationship is not going to make it. There are 4 qualifications, and one of them is if partners show contempt for each other. And the good doctor kind of called him out on it because she was like, you scoffed a little bit at Bailey. But then you guys sucked face and were fine. You have sexual chemistry. But she touched on the contempt and disdain because that guy's got it in spades.
But why, Jeremy? And I'm like, does he feel forced to be here, to be with her, to be in the game? Is he still thinking of Susie? Like, what is it? And in one of his confessionals, he actually says, you know, like, oh, you think he's going to say something really nice about Bailey. And you're like, maybe he does like Bailey. He's like, yeah, I've got a great woman by my side, and I can tell that Bailey is in love with me.
He never redeems himself. Like, Spencer had that questionable conversation with Jess, and then he redeemed himself. Jeremy never redeems himself. He just keeps being terrible.
I see how she looks at me. She's in love with me. Like, nothing about her. Oh, my gosh,
actually,
that guy.
I wrote down this quote. He said, I see the way Bailey looks at me, and I feel like she loves me, while his eyes looked completely dead.
Yeah, yes! It gives Ted Bundy. It gives little creepy weepies. I don't know. I am so curious what they are doing now.
Well, I'll tell you, by all considerations, they appear to be together.
No, they're not.
Yes, this is interesting because they appear to be together. And as of 24 hours ago, Kat had unfollowed Dale on Instagram. They had been following each other. She has unfollowed.
No! Boom, there it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, did we think that one was going to last a lifetime?
No, but the unfollow was the new piece of information.
That's crazy. Oh, God, I love social media.
By all accounts, Jeremy and Bailey are pretending to be together.
If she's watching this and is like, that's cool. Like, is she making, like, he's going to have to apologize, right? Right? Or is Bailey going to, like, chop it up again? She keeps, like, excusing his behavior.
She did have, that's interesting what you're asking, like, is the reality that she sees on the television going to be that different than what she experienced in Paradise, and will he therefore have to apologize? No, because she was shown that shitty reality of his. And she was just like, yeah, he said sorry.
which we'll get even more into with the backstabbing challenge, which is also such a treat. And the countdown begins, and it's going to be a good rose ceremony. As Grace has said, when we see the countdown, 2 hours till the rose ceremony, and shit starts hitting the fan. Keith, during the camping trip, felt homesick. He tells Kathy after the camping trip that he feels homesick, and he's going home. Kathy says, no, you're not. And Kathy goes to all the other people in the house to say, hey, will you talk to Keith and tell him he's not going home tonight? And they do.
Kathy runs that shit. Like, she's the mom from My Big Fat Greek Wedding that says the wife is the head and she turns the neck any way she wants.
She's Queen Latifah in Chicago. Like, she owns that prison.
Now, I do just want to point out, I did a quick Google search. Keith was talking about being homesick as though he had newborn children at home.
Yeah.
The
kids are at home.
His youngest just graduated from high school. So there's not children, but apparently the day that they were doing this like godforsaken camping trip, which we didn't even close the loop on this, Jesse comes out at the end of the camping trip after they've been there for literally an hour and is like, hey guys, come on back to the resort. Just kidding. You don't have to do this. On that night, he revealed to Kathy, I would be camping with my daughters right now. We had a camping trip scheduled for right now, and so I'm sad not to be with them.
Yeah.
But yet, as the last golden couple who's there, he decides this moment to say, I'm going to eliminate myself tonight because I'm so homesick. And Kathy says, no, you're not. And I appreciate how direct she was. Who does she talk to? Alex? She's like, hey, sis, could you go talk to Keith and just say like, hey, you're really needed here. Don't go home. And what do the girls do? They do it.
They go to Keith and say he's really needed here and he shouldn't go home. And this, sister, is when we start texting each other, because this moment between these three, I don't know, they're millennials, are they Gen Z? I don't know how to say it. Millennials?
Probably Gen Z.
Gen Z? These three young hot things talking to this golden, like, castmate that we've never seen this dynamic of before, tell him how much they appreciate him as a father figure, being here during this experience is, as you say, the most wholesome thing we've seen on reality television in a long time.
This is the heart of the show, by the way. This is what they should have been doing the whole time, because these women sit Keith down and Alex basically tells him, you have given me feedback about the way that Andrew treats me and how he looks at me that make me feel like my dad would approve of Andrew.
Yeah.
And it is so nice to have your observations and your stamp of approval, and we really need your voice here. I think that they did, at Kathy's urging, go sit Keith down to tell him these things, but they meant them.
I do think they meant them. I do think
Keith
they did.
was touched, and he decided to stay.
Yeah, and it was, Keith could hang on. Like, it wasn't like they were asking Keith to stay for another week. If anything, it was going to be like 3 more days.
That's
4
why I'm
more
like,
days.
why did he decide now to say that he's homesick? So Keith is suddenly back in the game. Jonathan and Leia know that they're also on the chopping block because they're platonic, and the good doctor.
I love that you call her the good doctor. Okay, so the consensus is looking like either Keith and Kathy or Jonathan and Leia or both will go home because only one. Okay, this vote, one couple's going home. So it's either going to be one of the couples, as Grace has pointed out, doesn't deserve a single flick of anything in life because they are single as doornails and should be shot. That it's going to be one of those two couples that are going home because they're not in a relationship. If I were Leah and I heard them trying to convince Keith to stay, I'd be like, the fuck? You hate me so much. I know they don't hate her, but this would be my insecurities talking. You hate me so much that you would go grab the old guy, sit him down, and say, stay. No, you can't go. Stay. And I would be pissed. I would be really upset.
You know, I hadn't thought of it that way. Because I was so impressed that Jonathan pulls Leia aside and he says, hey, we're on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Which my whole problem with them, they are on the chopping block because they don't have a romantic relationship.
Right.
They were never, as soon as the door shut to Paradise and new people stopped coming in, they weren't given another chance to find love.
Yeah.
And so it's strictly a numbers, statistics, happenstance thing that Jess and Spencer got together. And so the way in which we are penalizing Jonathan and Leia for Matt that they are not responsible for strikes me the wrong way. But Jonathan says to Leia, hey, I think we're on the chopping block. And you know what I think we should do? I think we should remind everyone how fucking fun we are. Jonathan goes scorched earth whimsy. And we see him walking around the resort being like, quick staring contest, you and me. Aren't you having fun? You having fun with me? He literally goes around, and this is not bad strategy. He says, let's remind them what good friends we are because they don't want to eliminate their friends.
You know what it reminds me of, Grace? Is Cody from Sister Wives running house to house. There's a clip from Sister Wives we love, a quick tangent, where Cody, the husband, dad of 25, is like running manically house to house to try to keep up with all of his wives. This is Jonathan, but whimsy style, being like, I'm fun. You like that? Remember me? Fun, funny.
Check.
Yeah, check.
They could have put Jonathan in fast forward.
Yeah.
Running around the resort trying to remind every person that he was fun. I didn't hate it. And it's not bad strategy.
No, he was totally right. And you know what? I'm going to say it now. I don't think this will happen, but I wouldn't be totally surprised. You know what Jonathan and Leia give me? Jared and Ashley. They give me a little bit of Jared and Ashley.
Babe, I've been saying it since the beginning. Give us a friends to lovers storyline.
Yes.
Which, like, it's already writing itself. Like, just lean into it already.
Yeah.
Jared and Ashley were on, I think, collectively 18 seasons of Bachelor in Paradise together before they decided to start dating. And now they have 1, maybe 2 children together. They're like very happily married.
But we were shocked when it happened because it was always kind of the edit of like Ashley was being kind of crazy and
she was
way more into Jared.
Him.
Way more into Jared than Jared ever was into her. But for him to eventually be like, oh wait, she was right. And they have a family.
If TikTok had existed when Ashley Iaconetti was on Bachelor in Paradise, she would have made a fan edit of how much she loves Jared Hyben. Like, and she would have like AI'd their faces together with like their children.
Should have done that app where you put the baby faces together.
She would have done that. She probably did. She probably did in like Microsoft Paint. But eventually, that's the thing. Give us a friends to lovers storyline. It's not hard. So we get to the rose ceremony, and Keith has decided that he's not going to vote himself out because the young women convinced him to stay. Now, sister, here's a question for you. When they're showing the 5 minutes before the rose ceremony and everyone's voting on an iPad, does your math brain actually try to tally who's going to go home? Are you capable of doing that? Because I feel like you are.
Yes and no. Did I not? Okay, so the answer is no, not like down to the actual vote. I knew it's going to be close. The one that was confusing was Jeremy and Bailey because they kind of talked about voting the same, but he kind of wanted her to vote differently.
Jeremy also said, I'm going to vote against Keith for personal reasons, which I'm sorry, do you have a blood vendetta?
Well, I took that as because personal reasons because he has a kinship with Jonathan.
Okay, I took that as he owes Brian his firstborn son for whatever reason and decided to murder Keith in the middle of the night.
Who knows? The long-winded answer is like, no, I knew it'd be close. I wasn't sure exactly if it was going to be Keith and Kathy or Jonathan Lee. The votes probably weren't even close, by the way. I'm sure that's just how they edited it.
You have the possibility as the viewer to tally who each person is voting for if you wanted to. It kind of reminds me when you're at a Titans game and there's like a star and there's 3 different hats and you have to, it's the magic trick where you have to follow the hat that's covering the thing.
Yeah.
I start out great and then I lose track and I'm out.
Oh, see, like I don't even try because I know sometimes they don't show the full click. They just give us a teaser of a hand hover and they don't give us everyone. So they're just going to give us some people and they're just going to show us half and half. So I give up. I don't think
they present the voting in a way that would allow a brain like yours to actually tally. I think it's just a teaser.
Yeah.
But however the votes went, Jesse comes up and says, for the first time in Paradise history, we have a tie.
So who gets to break that tie?
Okay, do you think this was a producer move? We have to count backwards and reverse engineer, but who do they ask to break the tie? It's Dale because he won the compatibility test.
Yeah, I guess. What else would you have done?
This was interesting that they chose Dale because he had his answer. He had the fastest deliberation anyone's had on the history of the show. He's like, oh yeah, it's Keith. Keith gets to stay. Yeah, Jonathan tried to talk to Kat once. He tried to talk to my girl once. He gets to go home. I will credit him with how fast that deliberation went.
Yeah.
Sister, don't you think that was kind of a setup?
I think they didn't expect a tie and they were like, what's a good way to do it? And they probably were like, who do we want to stay? And how can we put the voting system of who we want to stay in place that person will stay? Would be my guess. Yeah, I don't know. Someone had to go somehow. It'd either be a revote. Ooh, interesting. Because they do this on the challenge. Okay, again, here comes my challenge lecture for today. On the challenge, TJ Levin is basically like, okay, there was a tie, and we're going to vote again. And if there's a tie again, I'm picking at random. So everyone has to essentially pick a side of like, oh, okay, we will send someone home. Like, we got to send that person home. Because otherwise, I don't know how you do it.
My follow-up question is, now that Keith gets to stay, when he was like 45 minutes ago, he was ready to get back in his station wagon and drive to wherever the hell his children are camping. Jay, is it true what is meant for you will not miss you?
Yes. I believe that so much I don't even understand the point you're making against it.
I don't know that I understand the point I'm making against it. It just seemed like a nice chance to bring it up.
I think, I don't know. I think that Keith, that he was supposed to stay, so he stayed.
But I think he's going to get knocked out at the top of the next episode.
Oh, he's voting for himself the next episode. Yeah. It was so stupid. I don't know why we made such a big thing to keep. It was all egos here. Dale just wanted to say fuck you to Jonathan. That's all this was.
Correct. But so Keith now stays for like 24 extra hours. I would believe what is meant for you will not miss you if Keith went on to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
But he's not going to go on to win the whole thing. He's just delaying his camping trip by 24 hours.
But you never know what that delayed 24 hours is going to do.
All right, fair.
You never know the butterfly effect that occurs because you stayed 24 more hours.
Sure. Fair.
I mean, it can go either way. It's like there's an infinite number of parallel universes that can exist at the same time. But this is also just one of them. So it's like, it's a paradox of life that you just kind of have to live with.
So Keith and Kathy get to stay, surprisingly. And Jonathan and Leia get sent home, which again, sister, let me just say, if I were Jonathan and Leia, I'd be fake dating on social media for follows at this point. This is still, they had such a graceful exit. Just give the people what they want. Do TikTok dances together.
Yeah, they should at least do the friend TikTok, we're still friends thing.
Yes.
At least tease us, egg us on a little bit.
Like it's hard?
Yep.
God.
Let us think. So the next day, Wells comes out at breakfast with this message from Jesse, and it's a cryptic riddle and a physical dagger with a bow on it. And basically Wells is like, your next challenge is coming up. Grace, could you follow that riddle?
Oh, absolutely not.
Or was it even a riddle, or was it just words?
I'm pretty sure it was Bailey that said, I'm not Nancy Drew, I can't do riddles. And that was the first time I've ever related to her. Like as soon as someone says the sentence that's, I am blank blank, but not blank blank, my brain is gone.
I feel like there are like 5 different subject materials brought into this riddle that I was like, I'm lost. I couldn't do it. But I'm sad I didn't write it down because I wanted to figure it out.
Also, it didn't even matter because Wells was like, hey, go to the beach. There's scarecrows.
Yeah, literally, nothing matters. Everyone just goes down to the beach. And this is where we're presented with the next challenge, sharp opinions. Grace, can you do this one?
Well, what I'm going to say is this challenge is actually my worst nightmare. Much like Alex, I am so afraid of people finding out what I think of them. I am so afraid of people finding out what I think of them, and I am so afraid to know what people think about me. Which
I was going to say, it's the other way around for me.
I'm not as afraid to know what other people think of me because I always assume the worst. And so when I find out what they do think about me, I'm like, oh, you enjoyed my company?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to put me on the no-fly list.
You didn't want to beat me dead?
So they approach Jesse on the beach. He's in front of however many couples are left. He's in front of that many amount of scarecrows. There is a scarecrow to represent each member of the cast that is still there. There's one for Bailey. There's one for Jeremy. There's one for Keith, one for Kathy. And what they are going to do is when Jesse reads a prompt, they have to take a dagger, very violently jam it in the back of the scarecrow of who they think that phrase most applies to. So Jesse might say something like, who do you think is the most likely to cheat on a partner? And why is the answer Jeremy? I'm just kidding. He doesn't say that part about Jeremy, but he'll say, who do you think's most likely to cheat? With everyone else's back turned, you go stick your knife into the scarecrow that is the person of your answer.
So when you turn around, you don't know who put the daggers where, but you do see who had the most daggers, if you got a dagger, but you don't know from whom.
So if you're Jeremy, you turn around and you see that every single person in the cast thinks you're the most likely to cheat.
Everyone thinks you're the most likely to cheat. Everyone thinks you're more motivated by money than love. Everyone thinks who's most likely to keep talking to an ex and have a fling with someone else. His rap sheet wasn't very good.
They came for Jeremy in this challenge, and I loved it. I loved it. I mean, the questions may as well have been like, who is more likely to serve you Pepsi and tell you that it's Coke? Jeremy.
And who's most likely to suck? Jeremy.
And so the couple with the least amount of stabs, the couple with the least amount of points, hits against them is who wins the challenge. So Jeremy and Bailey were climbing a steep hill because Jeremy kept getting a dagger in the back for every answer.
It was not Jeremy and Bailey. It was not. There was one elimination for the first rose ceremony, and this next rose ceremony is where 2 more couples are going to go home. And Alex and Andrew wind up winning this challenge. So they are given immunity for this week, and they're not going to be sent home, which now actually is a big deal because 2 other couples are being sent home.
And what ensued, they quickly ended the Scarecrow Challenge, by the way, because of a lightning storm. Yeah. They were just like, okay, everybody go inside. It's Alex and Andrew. But what ensued were couple conversations where Spencer and Jess talking to, I think, Kat and Dale, for instance.
Yeah, we'd call that in the challenge an alliance.
They were talking strategy. And I thought that was very interesting because it was, it was like, who would you save and why? And then, sister, I want to call your attention to the fact that Kathy says, Kathy and Keith have basically decided to eliminate themselves. I don't know if it's in a Sean and Alicia kind of way where they're like, you can't fire me, I quit.
Right.
Where they're like, let's get out of here and save face. But Kathy says the objective of Paradise is love, and so she's going to vote herself out. But then she immediately goes into who needs the money the most.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, nullifies the objective of which is the strongest couple. If it's about love, then why are you even talking about who has student loans they have to pay off, Kathy?
Grace, you know what my therapist would say?
What?
Can it not be an and?
No. Not here.
Can it not be both?
Okay, sure. I do think that's an important point from your therapist. And two things can be true is a really important point that we should all keep in mind, especially when we need to lower our suds. However, don't tell me that that you think the objective of this is to find love and then say, I think Alex deserves the money the most because she has the most student loans to pay off.
Well,
What?
you could also argue that all the couples that are left are all in love. So now whoever wins is kind of arbitrarily, well, what do we base it on next? If it's not just love, what's the next thing? Because everyone checks that box.
If you think that it is who's the most in love, then you have to pick of that crew that's left, who's the most in love.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that what I said? And they also, I don't know if this was editors like throwing shade. We hear Kathy say, Alex has 6 figures of student loans she has to pay off, and some of the other cast members are well off and taken care of. And we saw immediately it flashes to Kat and Dale. Are they rich?
Yeah, I don't. But Dale was a football player.
That's putting it. That's being
Is
generous.
that? I thought he was like in the NFL. Was he not?
I think he was like drafted.
Isn't it like if you get to the NFL, if you're an ML like baseball, if you even get in the MLB, you're like living a great life.
Well, I don't know how long he played for, but the implication was Kat and Dale are rich. They don't need the money.
They seem rich. I mean, I don't know. They give the rich airs. Maybe it's just because they're hot. I don't know.
They do. I think you're onto something. We do associate hotness with richness.
Yeah, and they're they're very well dressed. But maybe it's just because they're hot. We think they're well dressed. It's a really chicken and egg situation. But we get a cliffhanger at the end because we're told this is the last rose ceremony of the entire season. And we don't get to see how the votes turned out until next episode for the finale. And then we see a bit of a teaser for the finale. Jesus Christ, Grace, what did you think?
I'm still in my camp of if you want to claim love, then you have to take love all the way to the fucking end. Because Jesse Palmer says, we hear a soundbite of him saying, if you choose love, you'll choose to forego the money. Mm-hmm. We don't know at what point that's going to be revealed. But all I'm saying is if you guys think that being in love is the standard for winning this show, then you better be willing to walk without the money.
If this is true, who do you think would take the money?
Jeremy.
I should have said, besides Jeremy, you don't think it's not just $250, it's not just $5. If you get $500,000, or you have to stay in a relationship that statistically is going to last about 2 more weeks after this show ends, I would be thinking about it. I'm not going to lie. That is a life-changing amount of money. But I've also seen the challenge where Johnny Bananas screwed over Sarah for $120,000. So I know anything is possible.
Also, you're saying that to me as though I'm out here being like, no, I would choose love. I mean, obviously, I would choose the money after fake dating for the whole thing.
But what if you're real dating? What if you're real dating and it's like, I really like you. Realistically, statistically, this isn't going to be forever. I think we know that.
I think this show is so lawless that I would say, I'm going to choose the money and then I'll text you when I land.
That's what I was going to say.
No way is this show going to be like, you can never talk to each other again.
Yeah.
No. Take the money.
I would take the money, text them when they get down and say, hey, I'm splitting it with you. I did this for us or something like that.
Yeah.
And then live my life.
I'm trying to think of a world in which if you choose the money instead of love and don't get a chance to tell your partner, what period of time would have to elapse before you couldn't do damage control? Because if I chose the money over my friendship with you, for instance, but didn't get a chance to tell you what I was doing, I didn't get a chance to explain it to you. If 24 hours goes by, when I finally talk to you, I can be like, oh my gosh, I took the money, but we're going to stay friends. But what if like a month goes by and you spend the whole month thinking that I betrayed our friendship for the money? Is the damage too far gone at that point?
It would be hard to come back. But it shouldn't be. But it's also difficult because it's like, what? Would we just not be allowed to see each other? That's also like... like COVID times of 6 feet apart at all times. Like, how would our relationship be able to survive in any capacity if we're not allowed to see each other?
They're going to quarantine the winning couple.
We'd be like the couple that does win The Bachelor that has to like hide for 3 months before they can come out.
But hide from each other.
Yeah. I appreciate that you'd split it. I'm assuming you would split it. I would split it with you.
If it were, I would split it with you, to be clear. A guy that I've known for 19 days, that's tough.
Tough, right?
A guy from Bachelor Nation that I've known for 19 days, tough.
500,000 is the deposit on like a really nice house. That's like, you could kind of live
where the house is. But.
True, but still, even like that's life-changing stuff. Faux show.
Is there a world in which you have the possibility to split the money 50-50? Or is it that one person, the 500K, can only go to one participant?
I selfishly want it to be the latter. I bet they give the prisoner's dilemma where it's like, if they both say share, they'll share it. But I hope not, because everyone's going to share it, except for Jeremy. And then they'd like MacGyver their way to have Jeremy win somehow, some way.
Oh, it also, by the way, it looks like next week, couples return.
Yes, like you were saying last week. Yeah, you called it.
So Sean and Alicia are going to come back.
And Sean has his vendetta.
Talk about a blood oath. Sean's like, I'm going to scorch the earth that Kat has walked on, and you're all going to know it. And
it looks so good.
Even Dale, who's actually not that invested in his relationship with Kat, is like, Sean, he like threatens to murder Sean because of how horrible Sean is.
Sean, that was egregious, man. That was rough.
So if everyone comes back to vote on which couple moves forward, Jeremy and Bailey are out.
That's true.
That guy doesn't have friends.
That's
true. Even if his one friend Brian comes back. Brian can't convince enough people to vote for his brother Jeremy. You can't. So I don't think there's a world. If the couples do return to vote on who advances, there's no way that Jeremy and Bailey are going to advance. If they did, would Jeremy choose the money over Bailey? In a second.
But you say they're still together, so I'm assuming they just don't get that far.
Honestly, don't actually consider the possibility that they're just fake dating for social media, in which case I would give Jeremy points for that because that's really smart.
They should actually the producers should start putting in their like paperwork. Like you can't follow each other before the show or after the show or something. Because like it gives so much away.
They're much more stringent about the post-show interactions for Bachelor and Bachelorette.
Oh,
Bachelor in Paradise is just a little more lawless.
Yeah, because that's what we love about it.
Yeah. So like Jess and Spencer have been like, she went to like Indiana or whatever white bread flyover state he's from and like met his family already.
Yeah, true.
You know, so if it did come down to Jeremy and Bailey, he would choose the money over Bailey 100%. But I don't think it can come down to Jeremy and Bailey because he's made too many enemies.
Yeah. He's just been too big of an asshole to
Correct.
Bailey. I don't think there's any coming back for him. Well, I am stoked to see the end. I'm sad it's coming to an end. This has been so much fun, Grace.
This has been so much fun. I'm stoked to see the end, and I'm stoked for the after show.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, after shows are amazing.
I want to see Susie face Jeremy. Are Susie and Justin dating? Probably not, because they're not smart enough to do that. I'm telling you, everyone should be fake dating. God. But I want Jeremy to have to answer for what he fucking said. I want them to roll the clip in front of Bailey. That's what I want. I want them to roll the clip of Jeremy saying, I would propose in a heartbeat if Susie came back.
Speaking of, I'm watching the after show for 90 Day Fiancé Hunt for Love. Man, are they showing clips back, if you know what I mean. I was like, oh, talk about being intimate, showing clips from that. We're going off topic. It's time for us to sign off. Watch 90 Day Hunt for Love if you haven't. It's also amazing. Any last words, Grace?
The plug for 90 Day Hunt for Love is it's like if Bachelor in Paradise were on TLC. It's all the crazies. It's all the crazies from the 90 Day franchise at a resort in Mexico trying to find love. It is unhinged.
It is.
If you need something to fill the hangover after Bachelor in Paradise is over, go 90 Day Fiancé Hunt for Love.
Great. Not sponsored, but could be.
But could be. We're open.
We're open. As always, please like, share, subscribe, heart, send, tap, kiss, love, hug. What other verbs?
Stab in the back?
No, we don't want to stab in the back. We're splitting the money, and that's
You're
if
right.
I have anything
We're
to
splitting the money.
say.
Sister, I would split the money with you.
Go talk to your partner, ask them if they'd split the money, look them dead in the eye, and we will see you next week right here on Girls Unscripted.
Bye.